Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
Ever wondered if your advertising dollar is really working for you? If your ad would have been here, you and more than 4 million people would be listening to it right now. Contact ads at xzoneradiotv.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/xzone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/xzone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you live and around the world from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and Starcom Radio Network. Worldwide, toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and our main website where you can listen to the X-Zone 24/7, 365, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is a lady that we've had the pleasure of having on the show many times, but it's been such a long time that she is with us. I am so happy that, well, PMH Atwater is with us this hour, Exonation. She is one of the original researchers in the field of near-death studies, having begun her work in 1978 and completing 10 books on her findings, some of which have now been verified in clinical settings. Her big book of near-death experiences was featured in the online version of Newsweek Magazine. Near-Death Experiences, The Rest of the Story, is her most complete and controversial work yet. She has won many awards, appeared on numerous TV shows, and spoken out around the world, always inviting people to look past appearances for the truth that underlies what we think we know. Her website, www.pmhatwater.com. My guest is the one and only PMH Atwater. And PMH, as I told you when I called you a little while ago, it's so great having you back on the X Zone. Welcome home, PMH.
Oh, wow. Wow. You are just so great.
No, the guests are great.
You are. Absolutely wow. It is so good to be back.
So how are you, my dear friend?
Oh, busy. I'm working on 2 books and have a new one out and working on 2 others and have 2 others in the slot. So, yeah, I'm working.
Wow. Congratulations on your latest 2 that have been published, Dying to Know You, Proof of God and the Near-Death Experience, and Children of the Fifth World. Now, that's where you talk about evolution, changes in the human family, and the new kids. Now, these are they the indigo children?
Look, friend, let's take all those little buzzwords.
Okay.
Let's take indigo, crystal, starseed, on and on and on, cosmic,
right.
rainbow, all these different labels that we have for children.
Yeah. And
let's toss them out the door.
Okay.
Then let's take all the characteristics these labels supposedly define, and let's group these characteristics all together, and you have the profile of the new kids. Absolutely. What we're finding is that if we try to slot them into exclusive clubs of specialness,
right,
which the labels do, we wind up hurting instead of helping.
Well, you know what we're going to do right now? You know what we're going to do right now? We're going to get rid of those titles, those classifications. Hold on, Craig.
Goody. Let's just talk about the new kids.
All right, hold on, Craig. Let's do it. There we go.
Flushing the toilet. Yeah.
They're gone. Let's
You're my kind of person.
Let's just call them new kids, right?
You know, I absolutely respect and honor all the people around the world that came up with all these labels. What they were trying to do was alert us to the fact that the human race was changing.
Yep.
That's good. That's wonderful. But we need to recognize now that those labels are doing more harm than good. So we need to get past all the trappings and take a look at what's really happening. And what's really happening is the human race is getting an upgrade.
Just like Windows 10.
Yeah, we're getting an upgrade. Yeah, we're moving. I'm getting all these messages on my computer. You know, free if you convert now.
Yeah.
And I'm going, no.
Oh my goodness, PMH. I feel as if we're going through changes. Like, you can see the world around us is changing, and there are a lot of people who don't know how to handle these changes. But I agree with you that it's the children who are the leaders of tomorrow, who are in the most important place where they can be in order to take humanity into the next phase.
Well, the DNA core of the human race is changing. It's altering. We can go back in time and we can see how the entry of humanoids and human beings coming into the earth plane have gone through phases. If we turn to the metaphysical world or the mystical world, then they call those phases changes in earth cycles, changes in the human race as it is. They call those root races, different root races coming in. There's different names that different cultures around the world address. But, you know, when I look at it, what I'm seeing is massive changes literally in our DNA. And we've gone through a lot of these. We're going through another one now. If you go back to the esoteric literature, then what we're seeing now, as near as I can tell, is the ascension of the fifth root race, where it's starting to reach its peak. And when we're talking about the fifth root race, we're talking about an advancement of the human being that is really above and beyond what we've had before. And it this isn't something just snapping right away. Although you can trace and you can see where the floodgates really opened wide about 1982. From 1982 on, I mean, hey, it's all over the world. It's in every culture, every population group. We now have these new kids, but they actually started long before that. You can find some of them in the time of Jesus, not that many, but a few. Every renaissance the world has ever gone through, it was these type of children, these type of people that caused that renaissance. And then they began to come through in large numbers in the 1800s. And from about 1840 on, and the birth of the New Thought movement and all of our New Thought pioneers like Emerson and Phineas Quimby and all these great people, those are all fifth root race people. The people that put their foot down and say, wait a minute here, I'm going to heal myself. I have the ability to heal. I do not have to go running to a doctor. I have the ability for direct communication with God. I do not have to go through an emissary. I can go direct. And these are the New Thought people. But, again, we need to recognize that New Thought actually began with Plato. Plato was saying this way back when. Okay, now we've got a lot of steam going. These genes, this upgrade in our DNA is now spread, and it's spread enough that we're seeing a dramatic change in the human being. And this is what gets me so excited. When they talk about all the things happening now with kids, they talk about the appeal of ISIS to the new kids. I'm saying to people, just read Children of the Fifth World. Read that book. It's all there. Yeah, in that book, it literally is all there. The good, the bad, the indifferent. I mean, everything is in that book. And I just hope people turn to that for references. But wow, these new kids. I mean, wow. On the plus side, these kids are very intelligent, even if they can't spell. About 1/3 are geniuses, even if learning disabled. And I'd like to just sort of hang on that for a little bit here and say, there's two types of checking on intelligence, two types of tests. There's either the Wechsler test or there's the Raven test. The Wechsler test checks on crystallized intelligence, what you've learned. The Raven's test checks fluid intelligence, what you can learn. So most children across the world in those countries that take the standard IQ test or the Wechsler test, about 1/3 of them are scoring 150 to 160 with no genetic markers to account for it. That's just, blows your mind.
Sure does.
But if the kid's autistic or if the kid has a learning problem, if you have them take the Ravens test, really, Rob, 1/3, same number, are scoring 150 to 160.
Holy cow.
Even with autistic children. The whole thing, if you get in and really study the research, will blow your cookies. I mean, it's just going to blow you apart. These kids are music-oriented, very rhythmic. Well, most kids are.
Yeah.
But these kids are unusually creative and spiritually minded. They're intuitive, they're psychic, many remember past lives. They're excellent with math, Rob, don't let them fool you. They're natural-born healers, they're ready-to-go entrepreneurs, they're irreverent, they're quirky,
Wow.
They have unique beliefs, they're visionary problem solvers, they're very knowing, they're volunteer-minded, humanitarians, they're good, they're groupies who move as if part of a collective.
Well, it's about time.
Yeah, and they abstract at very young ages. They're spatial learners. It's the fusion of sexes and gender mixing. Guess what? They're bringing us, all of this lesbian, homosexual, we're changing sexes kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're multi-sensory, multi-channelers who live in a multiverse. So that's a whole new kind of kids. And many of them go to night school. And
why?
I never, what's night school? I thought they were just dreaming. Then I was in a shopping center.
Okay.
And there was a mother to my right.
Mm-hmm.
She had a little boy, I guess maybe first grade level. And way down the hall in this shopping center was mom and dad and another little boy about the same age. These two boys recognize each other immediately, call each other by name, go running to each other, and start discussing their assignment they got last night in night school. Now, the biggie here is, the woman to my right is local.
Mm-hmm.
The mom and dad are tourists. They're just traveling through. They've never been there before.
How do the kids know each other?
Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah.
Night school is real. We think our kids are going to bed and they're dreaming. Well, many of them are.
And
but
others?
A lot more are doing something else. And if we look at the minus side,
mm-hmm.
these kids are impulsive, they're impatient, they feel entitled, they're overconfident. They have an underlying anger. That is to say, they have little tolerance for lies or manipulation, the rugrat kids. They prefer the astral and synthetic worlds. They're highly sensitive to drugs and snack foods, processed foods. And they're highly sensitive to toxic, incoherent electronic energy.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that's getting them all the time now with routers and Wi-Fi and all
sure
this other kind of
is.
stuff.
Yeah.
They do not assimilate nutrition well. They have no concept of authority. Absolutely none. No need for... They need mentors, not bosses.
Right.
Because they have no concept of authority. They have no concept, nor do they understand the effort needed to process or refine. That's why they give away copyrights right and left. They give away your copyright, they give away my copyright because they have no understanding of what it took to get that copyright.
Right.
So, they're always tossing music here, there, and everywhere. They appear wiser than they are. Self-deception is a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
They're sensitive to trickster energy, that is to say possessions, attachments. They expect things to come to them. They do not recognize boundaries, even that of skin. And here's the big one. Their greatest fear? Guess what their greatest fear is?
I have no idea.
Silence.
Silence?
They can't handle it. Most new kids cannot handle silence.
Can I tell you something, PM?
PMH, yeah.
Right. When I was a kid, I could not sleep at night unless a radio was on because the silence would keep me awake.
You were probably one of the new kids. Remember, we started coming in large numbers in 1840.
Oh.
So, your grandma, your great-grandpa are probably new kids, too.
That's fascinating.
It is. It really, really is when we take a look at what's going on. And, with this thing of changing genders,
mm-hmm.
and the whole gender issue. During this time of the new kids, there's more and more.
Yep.
The floodgates opened in 1982. Well, since then, Dateline, November 2013. Germany was the first country on this planet to officially recognize 3 sexes. This is official. This is legal. There is M for male.
Right.
F for female.
Right.
And X for indeterminate.
Well, that gives a whole new meaning to the X Zone radio show, doesn't it?
Yeah. In other words, you can pick it.
Yeah.
Now, India was the second country on this planet to recognize 3 sexes. They did that in May 2014, so that was last year. And they also recognize F for female,
right,
M for male, and then they also have an X for you can choose your gender.
Wow, interesting.
So we've got 2 this is on your passports, this is your birth certificates, everything. And maybe part of this is the increase in hermaphrodites that are being born. That's babies with both sexes.
Yeah.
And in our country, a couple of years ago, the figure was 1 in 1,000 births.
Mm-hmm.
But hold on, in Germany, it's 1 in 100. Maybe that's the reason they were the first country to recognize 3 sexes.
Is it possible that the increase in these dual sex births is that could it be the GMO foods? Could it be
it could.
The different pharmaceutical? Because Germany was into heavy pharmaceuticals when it came to, if my memory serves me correct, into child enhancement drugs.
Oh, I'd forgotten that.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be that maybe they're doing it.
Mind you, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah. But it's if these children and PMH, I have no reason to doubt anything you've ever said, anything you ever will say. If these children are here and they are everything that you described to us,
it's not me.
God bless them for being here, because this is what we need to save this planet, to save this human race of ours.
Oh, I tell you, they're doing it in incredible ways. Let me give you some examples here.
Please do.
We have a 19-year-old girl in Egypt who invented a new, cheaper, and virtually fuel-less propulsion method for the familiar chemical explosion and radioactive technology of conventional rocketry.
How old?
Okay. 19 years old.
God bless her.
She's a girl. She lives in Egypt, and she's a Muslim.
Wow.
Let me give you another wow. We have a 19-year-old boy in Brazil, skinny little college dropout, who has started the Free Brazil movement and is now getting in crowds of over 100,000 people and is directly challenging the president of Brazil. Skinny 19-year-old college dropout.
Unbelievable.
I mean, what is, these kids, at the age of 5, they're starting up businesses in their bedroom with the blessings of mom and dad, and with their computers, they're able to advertise their product, whether it's jewelry or whatever it is.
Yep.
And by the age of 15 or 16, they've paid for their college. I mean, the new kids are just... Ooh. And we've got this little boy in Canada. I forget how many, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago now, was horrified. In all these stories on television out of Africa, the kids don't have clean water. Their water wells are drying up. So he went around with his little piggy bank, neighborhood, gathering money, picking up money, begging for money. And in a few years, he earned enough that he sent hundreds of thousands of dollars to Africa to build new wells. This one little boy.
The question that I have for you at this point, PMH, is why aren't the adults watching what these kids are doing and learn from these children who are making a positive change in this rotten world that we as adults have contributed to?
Well, hold on here.
All righty, I'm holding on.
Maybe some adults are taking a good look at these children, because these children are very mission-oriented. They're crusaders. They're not trying to take over the establishment. They're growing up without one. They have a sense of mission, a sense of fulfilling ancient prophecy. And guess who's taking advantage of that? This idea of mission, this sense of mission, is literally in their genes. They are coded with it. They are wired with it. So guess who's taking advantage? Guess what adults are noticing this and taking advantage of it? It's ISIS. And it's the way they design their Facebook and their videos and their internet messages.
Oh, God.
It is exactly aimed toward what these kids are hardwired with. That's why so many of them are just getting over to the Middle East as fast as their little limbs can get them there.
Gotcha.
They're plugging into what these kids want to do. I'm saying wake up military. I'm saying wake up schools. I'm saying wake up parents. These kids want to be a part of sustainability, bioengineering, changing the world. Let's help guide them there.
Exactly.
Let's help get them there, instead of leaving them to people with nefarious thoughts who want to trick these kids. And that's a way to trick them. And they know it. And they're doing it.
Has anyone gone to the authorities and said, look, this is what's happening? These kids are being targeted.
I'm talking about it in my newsletter now that I'm now writing. It'll probably come out next week.
Okay.
I have a free monthly newsletter that comes off my website, www.pmhatwater.com. And I'm talking about this, and I'm talking about the seed or the basic source of what this energy is and the why of this energy. So I am going to be talking about it.
Good for you.
You know, we've got to open up eyes and ears and minds here. And that's what I try to do in Children of the Fifth World. You know, I'm waving a flag as big as I possibly can, and about all kinds of issues here, especially about autistic kids, especially about ADHD and learning, learning disabled kids. I hope everybody across the world who's listening to this program writes this down. This is a book. Write it down. The name of the book, Kids Beyond Limits. I won't give you the secondary title because it's long, long, long. It's written by Annette Banel. Annette is A-N-A-T. Banel is B-A-N-I-E-L. The book came out in 2012. Get that book. I don't know how far back your memories go, but mine go back to the days when polio was an epidemic, and people were literally collapsing in the street because of polio. I was one of those at the age of 4. Collapsed right in the street as I was walking along. I had a mild case of it. But I very much remember what those days were like. Mm-hmm. And a woman out of Australia, they called her Sister Kenny. She devised natural ways with heat and massage and steam and what have you to bring back to full use of their limbs anyone who was hit by polio. She had an over 80% recovery rate. What this woman did was miracle after miracle after miracle. And the American Medical Association never once recognized her or had anything to do with her, even though she was the miracle woman. Well, now today we have another Sister Kenny. Her name is Annette Banel, and her book, Kids Beyond Limits, tells you what she does by taking natural, normal treatments and being able to bring back autistic kids, learning damaged and disabled kids by using these methods. And it's fabulous. So get that book. Another book everybody needs to know about because it's like, oops. And it's the book called Dosed. The Medication Generation Grows Up. It's by Caitlin Barnett. Let's talk about that for just a minute. These kids who start taking Ritalin and stuff like that at about the age of 9 or so, 8, 9 or so, and take it for all their school years. What we're finding now when they reach adulthood. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
They don't know what love is.
They don't know what love is. Does the Ritalin?
I have no idea.
Now, Ritalin is in the same pharmacological classification as cocaine.
It robs them of the ability to understand what love is.
Oh, for gosh sake!
And that book, Dose, the Medication Generation Grows Up, talks about one woman's story, but it's really the story of all of them, or at least most of them. It's really kind of spooky when we start looking at drugs, and yet the young kids love drugs. They turn to drugs all the time.
But I think they turn to. I really think they turn to drugs because they can't get the answers that they're seeking from adults and from society. Like most adults,
they're not getting feelings.
That's right, and if you'll excuse this analogy, most adults, in my opinion, are like ostriches. Their heads are in the sand and their butts are up in the air.
Yeah, they're not paying any attention to the kid itself.
That's right.
They're looking at instead what they're being told their child should or could do. They're not really looking at their child, and they're not listening. My mother was a very strong person. When we were kids, we were given the opportunity to explore life. And when my mom would see us heading in one direction, she would give us all of that support. Like, I'm sure just like when you were a little one, PMH, we sat down, we had breakfast together, we had lunch together, we had supper together. Yeah.
mom or dad.
Yeah, I come from canyon country. I was in the canyon.
Okay, so family virtues and family values were totally different back then. In today's society, it's easier for a mom and dad to let the child sit in front of the computer or play the Game Boy or do whatever they want instead of interacting with the child and learning about their child. And it's sad. It is so sad.
To their child.
Exactly. That, in my opinion, was the importance and the value of having meal times together where you could express what happened during the day, what your ideas were, what your goals were, what your dreams were. They don't do that today.
No, they don't. And that's really sad.
It is.
And among the sad things is not learning about nature, getting out in nature, touching and feeling nature, smelling and oozing in the mud in nature. And that's really the precursor to really being highly developed psychically, is if you have a good connection with nature. And I'll tell you, the woman who has the best school I have ever discovered for teaching children and adults too, if they want to learn how to be creative, innovative, psychic, intuitive. Her name is Nancy Baumgarten, and she runs PsyKids, the PsyKids School, and it's www.psykids.org. The school she runs in North Carolina. I don't know if there are branches elsewhere, but her program is the best I've ever run across.
Really?
Just bar none. And it's fabulous. And our kids are growing up without the imaginal world, without realizing what the imaginal world is. I talk about that in the book, too. That imagination, we all know what imagination is.
Yep.
Kids do, too. They make something up. But the imaginal world pre-exists. You don't go to it. It comes to you. It's the pre-existent worlds, the hidden order. That life of the tree, that life of the plant that can speak to you, that can emerge from the tree, that energetics that can emerge and greet you and become a part of your life. And you can understand or learn to understand its language as it learns yours. The idea that the imaginal world and nature itself is so full of life that it is literally energetic beings unto themselves, and getting out more and more into the hidden order and all these other things that exist above and beyond the house, above and beyond the school, and all of our Wi-Fi and digital toys. And among the things that are really exciting that's happening now in the field of education, we've got some good stuff going on now. We really do. We've got adaptive learning. Finally, schools are catching on to the fact that one-size-fits-all curriculums fail.
Yep, big time.
They don't work. We got to change it. It's called adaptive learning. And one of the things they're doing with adaptive learning is they're discovering full immersion dual languages. That's when the child, at any age, 4 on up, maybe sooner than that, maybe goes the morning, they're taught Chinese, they speak Chinese. They do everything Chinese. Then in the afternoon, it's English, nothing but English. They speak English.
You see,
and they do that year after year. Do you know what happens when that happens? Rob, the executive function of the brain opens up. These kids learn reasoning, multitasking, conflict development, spatial reasoning, just by speaking dual languages.
You see, PMH, I'm from Montreal originally. And from grade 1 right through high school.
You're speaking French.
You speak English and French.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you learn, well, you obviously you're an executive. You learned this. By the way, I'm going to be in Montreal this coming Saturday.
Oh.
In just a couple of days.
What are you doing in
Montreal?
Montreal?
Going up there. I'm at the big International Institute of Integral Human Sciences, their big conference.
Wow.
That's in Montreal. I'm going to be giving 2 talks, and one of them on children and markers on children. By the way, I've started a new research project.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, well, you know, I've done a lot of work with all ages of people over the years, and especially with children.
Yes.
My initial findings came out in the book, The New Children and Near-Death Experiences, and then I got to thinking, wait a minute here. No matter where you are, no matter what group you are in, a child near-death experiencer, regardless of how old that person is now, and an adult experiencer are decidedly different. They just are. It's almost as if the children are imprinted in some way, or they alter or change in some way, and no matter how old they grow to be, they are forever different, even from any other near-death experiencer. But children who, I'm talking womb issues, birth, babies, toddlers up to the age of 5, if they have a near-death experience or something like it, or if the mother has either a difficult pregnancy or somehow receives a shock, and that shock goes to the baby, the forming baby, somehow in that mix, that child can be changed. So I'm looking at those little bitty ones, those tiny ones, and I'm finding that they are so unique. They are even different from other child experiencers. So what I'm doing is a call for volunteers. Get on my website, right there in the home page is the call for volunteers. If you're different in any way, if your life has been altered in surprising ways because of something that happened between womb and the age of 5, I'm looking for you. And I really hope that you will volunteer to be a part of this project. I would like to hear from you. And the instructions are in that piece that are on my website. This is groundbreaking research, never been done before, and I want to take a look at what is really happening when these little bitty ones are changed in some manner. So I'm really wanting volunteers, again, get on my website, get that stuff, and so forth.
Can I do something to help?
Yeah, you can post that call for volunteers on your website.
Okay, how about we do that? We'll also give a full page ad in the X Chronicles newspaper, and we will produce a public service commercial for you that we'll play on the air.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
So what'll happen is we'll be in touch with you over the next day or two. We'd like to have, what we'll do is we'll target the commercials to start running Monday, this coming Monday.
Remember, I leave early Saturday morning.
I
get back Tuesday.
All right, so what I will do is I will send you an email later on today or first thing tomorrow morning about what we want.
Okay.
You write me up the commercial, we'll produce it, we'll voice it, and we'll put it on the show to help you get this very important research out there.
Oh, it will be very important. I'm suspicious about what's happening in the brain.
Yeah.
I'm suspicious about what is happening with the soul. I'm very suspicious about a lot of things. A lot of these kids grow up thinking they're alien or extraterrestrial. Many of them do not bond with parents. They bond with the other side. I mean, we've got strange things going on with little ones who either have a near-death experience or something like it. They're growing up very different. They're growing up with very different brains. And they're growing up with a very different look on life. So I want to get more information on that, more data, and do a real study on this. So, I would love that. Anything I can. Yeah,
you've got to
reach these kids.
You've got it, PMH.
Even the kids we have right now, these special new kids that we have. One of the most exciting things that we have discovered in schools with these new kids is, I have to take a deep breath here because it's so exciting.
While you're taking a deep breath, I'm just going to let the audience know that we've decided to put commercials aside this hour because this is a very important topic. But you're listening to Rob McConnell here in the X Zone. My special guest tonight, this hour, is PMH Atwater. Her website is www.pmhatwater.com. You're listening to us around the world on the X Zone Broadcast Network and the Starcom Radio Network. Okay, we got that business out of the way.
Okay, the biggie. What's making a big difference in schools today? Ta-da! Let's hear a drum roll. Silence. Silence.
Silence.
15 minutes of silence in the morning, 15 minutes of silence in the afternoon. That means the kids, that means the teachers, that means the maintenance crew. Everybody stops and is silent for 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon.
It's like they're having little siestas.
Just doing that and nothing else has turned around scores, attendance, like of school, everything. Again, over 80% turnaround.
My goodness.
And it's just silence.
Well,
I'm saying, wake up, everybody.
Didn't you do that when you were in school? They'd give you a little break.
We'd take a little nap.
Yeah. See, what's happening, as I see it, PMH, is that we're just we're just right back where we were years ago.
Well, this is even more than little naps. This is every age up to and through high school. This is all ages, not just what we did when we were in the first grade.
Oh, geez, I used to take cat naps.
What we're discovering is the power of mindfulness, the power of silence, the power of meditation, the power of dreaming, the power of going into a flow state. We're discovering how powerful that is.
Do you remember that old saying, silence is golden?
Yeah, well, it really is.
It is.
It really is.
Yeah.
And you know what else is in that book, Children of the Fifth World? Not just the kids, but what's happening right now. We're in the time of the great shifting. So I have a whole chapter on some of the dates and some of the things that are going on in the world right now, how the world is changing. We're moving into fives big time. It's like, for instance, we have discovered of late that we actually have five brains. We have 5 hearts, or 5 frequencies in the heart, 5 brainwave frequencies. The 5th dimension, the 5 types of intelligence, the 5 types of brainwaves. We're moving into all kinds of 5s. Certainly the 5th root race, but the 5, there are 5 basic forces, not 4, 5. The 5th one is torsion waves. And we're just we're coming into all of this stuff, and we're starting to realize, whoops, there's more to life. There's more to this world than we ever dreamed there was. Like 5 brainwave frequencies certainly is gamma waves. The 5th brain, Rob. Here's another one. Hold on, world. The 5th brain is, drumroll, the heart. The heart is a brain. Science has shown that about 65% of the heart cells are the same type of neural cells that are located in the brain.
So the heart has neurocells in it?
Yes. The heart produces a field 1,000 times more electrically powerful than the brain.
Oh, my gosh.
5,000 times more magnetically powerful than the brain. It moves in infinite harmonic waves throughout all bodily systems, and, another drum roll, reacts to events 4 to 7 seconds before they occur, sometimes 2 to 3 minutes before they occur.
Mm-hmm.
That means our heart literally is our first responder. It picks up what's going to happen before the brain does. It is what notifies the brain that something is going to happen. It is the heart that gets it first.
Unbelievable.
We're just finding this out. There are 5 types of intelligence. IQ, which is mental intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
EQ, which is emotional intelligence. SQ, which is spiritual intelligence. WQ, which is holistic intelligence. QQ, which is quantum intelligence. Yet, our educators tell us that anything over EQ cannot be measured, therefore, it is fiction.
That is all wrong.
Yep.
Mind you, the educators are still trying to tell us that it was Christopher Columbus that discovered America. So.
Oh, you said the magic word, Christopher Columbus. That triggers, in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
what else is going on here? 5 centuries before now, Christopher Columbus discovered our hemisphere. Right?
Well, actually, it was the Vikings.
Well, hang with me for a minute.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm hanging.
Okay. His big ships and everything
Mm-hmm.
came with all his sick crew.
Yep.
Many of them had malaria.
Mm-hmm.
And they came with bugs and rats and viruses and all kinds of stuff. After his crew stepped foot on the Western Hemisphere, within 100 years, so much changed in the world that 1 in 5 people died.
Holy cow.
There are all kinds of books written on this, especially Charles C. Mann,
Mm-hmm.
and the work he has done with what happened, with what Christopher Columbus did. Christopher Columbus is the one who brought us slavery. All you have to do is check his notebooks that he kept at the time. You know, he's talking about these wonderful, wonderful, happy people that greeted him and what wonderful slaves they would make. Okay, that started a homogenesis. A homogenesis changes the cellular structure big time.
PMH.
It brings everything into like.
PMH, I hate to do this, sweetie, but we've run out of time for tonight. But we're going to have you back. We're going to have you back on, I promise, within the next 2 weeks, if it works in your schedule.
Oh, really?
Really.
And we get to talk about the homogenesis and what the GMOs are doing.
Exactly. PMH, I've got to say so long for now. Thank you so much for joining us, PMH. It's always a great pleasure talking to you, and I'll be in touch with you over the next couple of days, and we'll get that PSA done for you. Take care, dear. Bye-bye now. And to you, the members of the X Zone Nation, always remember to keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Good night, everyone.